This chair might need to go what? Back where? Back that way?
Yeah, just so we get everybody on screen. Good morning, everybody. Hey, how's the sound? Can you hear the sound before we roll? Sounding okay? Anybody? What? You're knocking the camera down. Oh, sit down, please. Sit down. Put the camera back up. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything. Don't do anything. Just sit down. Now you have to turn it because you turned it. You ruined everything that I spent 7 hours doing. Okay. All right. Just pick the camera up. Oh, brother. All right. I'm just going to start. I'll let you figure it out.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking.
Come organized to the show
Mean
once,
Gene.
just once.
Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm.
Yeah, of course it's
and
shaky. She knocked the
atomic
camera
attack
down.
Alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square. You're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to episode number 120 of Beach Talk Radio. We're broadcasting live from Peach Time Out on Fort Myers Beach, in the greatest spot in the world, from the greatest country in the world. And we are also live on YouTube in addition to Facebook. You turn the camera all the way that way. Jeez. Please fix the camera. That's a little too much. Now turn it back the other way. It's like we need to start over again. I want to say thank you to all of our great sponsors: Mango Ritas, Carla's Custom Painted Furniture Creations, CCG Certified Public Accountants, Island Oils, Fort Myers Tiki Tours, Shuckers, and the Cottage Bar. And our longest sponsor and our greatest friends in the world, John. Is his name John? What's his name? John Lalo and Debbie Lalo, of course.
Are you going to blame that on me too now?
From Peach Time Out. So before we get to our first guest, we want to kind of do a little recap, don't we? You have your notes ready?
You do.
It was another very interesting week of government leadership here in the state of Florida and on Fort Myers Beach. And I wanted to talk about the mask thing for a little while. Are you set? I don't want to talk about the debate about the the effectiveness of the mask or which mask works better than another mask, but I want to talk about what happened here on Fort Myers Beach this past week and get your opinion and your input on that.
Okay.
So for the second time, my opinion, for the second time in less than a month, the residents were kind of left out in the cold about what was going on. And this is what I mean. The Bayside building that was proposed to be built over by Nervous Nellies, it turned into a giant structure that the residents down there didn't feel like they were given any input on. It was squashed. It was definitely squashed, and it was at least delayed for a while. And then just this past week, the panic that set in over everybody else in the state, or a lot of other communities in the state, closing beaches or limiting hours at the beach like they did in Naples, or mandatory masking like we saw in Sanibel and some other places. Well, they called an emergency meeting on Wednesday. Ray called an emergency meeting on Wednesday. And what happened was they tried to close the beach. And it didn't work because Rexanne, as I said last week, Rexanne was going to be the swing vote because we felt like Dan and Jim were not going to go that way because the county totally signaled that they weren't going to close the beach. So Rexanne, also blaming the county a little bit, I thought, during that meeting, sided with Jim and with Dan, and they decided to keep the beach open, which was the smarter thing to do, obviously, because you don't want to stuff everybody in the smaller county beaches. Now at least they have a chance to spread out in the entire island. Well, then all of a sudden they're grabbing for straws to try and figure out what they can do, because they called this meeting and it had no agenda. It just said, the COVID-19 stuff. And so they're going to talk about the parking and they're talking about this and that. And then they decide they're going to talk about the masks. And Bill Veach, Councilman Veach, pulls out two different ordinances, one from Sanibel and one from, where was the other one from? Monroe County. And so they decide they're going to cobble together some kind of mask plan so that they can ram it down the throats of the residents, the very next day. So they came up with some cockamamie 7-page ordinance that they totally dropped on these businesses and these residents, where it's a $50 fine if you're not wearing a mask, and it's a $500 fine that if the business has somebody that walks in without a mask and they don't catch them and a base employee or a sheriff's deputy goes in and sees somebody, they could be slapped with a $500 fine. Now, I haven't heard of anybody being hit with a fine, but my first question to you is, what did you think of the whole way it went down?
Oh my Lord, am I going to get a word in edgewise?
Yeah, well, you have to set the stage, dear. It's called setting the stage.
Everyone knows the story
not everyone.
and the stage, and everyone knows your opinion on it.
I didn't give my opinion yet.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I didn't.
Please, you have been.
Anyway, go ahead and give your opinion on it.
No, as you know, I went to the Sanibel meeting and then I watched this one, and I agree. I don't often agree with you. I agree with you on a couple of things. I agree that the agenda was not specific, but I don't know how much time they had to get that together. I will say that at the beginning of the meeting, they said, we're going to talk about the beach and the beach parking, and maybe we'll get to talk about masks, and maybe we'll get to talk about some other things. So that came out at the beginning. I do think that a decision needed to be made because it was 4th of July weekend. That's a time sensitive thing. There's a date on that.
On the beach.
So you needed to make a decision sooner rather than later about what you're going to do. Are you going to be open? Is the parking going to be open? Is everything going to be closed? I would suggest that the mask thing, to get everybody's input, might have been better to do that and delay it, to just make sure you had covered getting public comment.
Right.
Because I think too, if you make a decision to close the beach and close the beach parking, everybody's going to see that when there's going to be no, I got to figure this out. It's closed. When you have the mask thing at the last minute, it's a lot for people to figure out. It's a lot for residents, let alone visitors, to figure out and plan for, if they are even have any clue about what they're supposed to do.
Well, so Sanibel voted for the masks. And the thing that, like you say, why not? What I was disappointed was that nobody on the council said, we're going to talk about the mask. Let's wait 24 hours and publicize that we're going to have another meeting tomorrow. I mean, when the COVID thing hit, they were having meetings 2 or 3 times a week. It's not a big deal. And let the residents know that we're going to talk about the masks because it affects so many people. So they didn't do that. They just decided they were going to take a 15-minute break and cobble something together from Sanibel and Monroe County and pass the mask ordinance.
They did mention that they had a lot, because I think we were both surprised that there wasn't more in-person public comment about the beach parking situation at all. But they did say they got a lot of emails.
Okay.
And that some of those emails discussed people's opinion on the mask. But when you're making a decision about the safety of the town, which includes the residents' opinion of the safety of the town, it probably, I don't know that there was enough time or enough. Well,
how about getting some input from the businesses that you're about to drop this bomb on, how they could all work together? I don't think anybody is really, there are some people that are saying this is, they're stepping on my rights and the whole thing. And okay, that's a whole different argument, but these businesses have to deal with this situation after Red Tide, after the first wave of COVID, and they're trying to make the money back. I'm not talking about just these businesses here in Times Square, all the businesses. So why not wait 24 hours? Sanibel had a ton of input when they had the meeting because people knew that was on the agenda. Cape Coral, if you watch now there's some crazy people in Cape Coral. I mean, they knew ahead of time. There's some crazy masks they had down there in Cape Coral, but they knew that they were going to have a lot of public input on that. So, and they delayed it. Now, if this is so urgent that you need to have masks on the beach where people say that you're less likely to catch the virus outside, why didn't Cape Coral pass it within 24 hours if it was so urgent? Why did they push it off? Not even till Saturday, till Monday. They pushed it off until Monday. And then Ray turns to Roger, which is just typical of the way things work down there. Ray turns to Roger and he says, what's your input? What kind of blah, blah, blah. And so you hear from, Roger's typical long-winded, hemming and hawing. And instead, why didn't the 2 or the 3 of them or whoever talk together beforehand and say, hey, the masking is going to come up? come up with a plan, Roger. It would be nice if you save my back when I bring this thing up, when I bring the idea up for a mask, because it's going to affect so many people. And Roger's plan might have been, if he had, if he thought ahead, was, okay, I would like your permission, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Council and Mrs. Council, to buy 10,000 masks using money from the city budget. And I'm going to have the base employees walk all up and down Estero Boulevard, handing out free masks with the pamphlet that the new PIO creates with some instructions about what this mask ordinance is. Like, you can go inside, you have to go inside with a mask, and then you sit down, you can take it off. But if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to put the mask back on. If you're outside, you don't need a mask unless you're okay. You can put that into some kind of wait, let me finish that. But why not?
Well, here's the thing. When you wait, they didn't have enough time to do that either.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You can't bring up a suggestion that there wasn't enough time
what I'm
to
saying
get.
Is Roger could have came up with that.
10,000 masks like that.
Well,
or
Roger,
signage up.
Right. Okay, you know
that
for sure.
quick.
The guy at Nervous Nellies told me the other day he bought thousands and thousands of masks right after he heard about this. So they must be for sale somewhere. Hand them out for free. Put Beach Talk Radio on them or something like that, or whatever, and educate the people and educate the businesses instead of just well, it's a $50 fine if you break the law, or it's a $500 fine if the business breaks the law. But anyway, so that was a lovely start to the week. Or end to the week, right? So Cape Coral goes back at it on Monday, and if you're on the beach, the rule is you need a mask. So bring a mask, because you can't go in a business without a mask. You can't go in a restaurant without a mask, but you can go in with a mask and sit down and take it off. But if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to put it back on. If you're outside seated, you don't need a mask. If you're outside, realize how crazy this is. If you're outside standing, you do need a mask. If you're on the beach with your friends or with your family, you don't need a mask.
And you're 6 feet from everybody
else. Right. So if you're running down the beach, you have to have a mask in your hand, because if you're 3 feet, you have to put it on. If you're 6 feet, you could take it off. If you're 3 feet, you have to put it on. I just made that part
The bottom line is you need to carry a mask with you so that you can put it on if you cannot maintain social distancing, with the exceptions that they included.
Come on down, ladies.
They did include some exceptions.
Yeah. Okay. What the ADA thing?
The
ADA thing was interesting too, right? You'd want to talk about that real quick?
I mean, because I have to look at it again. Well, I just think it was worded oddly, but that could be me reading it that way.
All right. We're going to move off the mask thing, and I'm sure you all enjoyed that. We didn't lose too many listeners about that. We're going to talk about Bay Oaks here on Fort Myers Beach, because Bay Oaks is a big project that is about to be built, or will soon be built, and it's a multi-million-dollar project. And dear, I'm going to give you the introduction so I can fix the camera, because nobody's on the camera right now.
All right. Well, now that I have put my mask on,
perfect.
We don't live together, and we can't be 6 feet apart because of this little camera he's got. But I would like to introduce Barbara Hill and Karen Woodson, who are both on the BORCAB, which stands for, Bay Oaks
Recreation Advisory Board. That's it.
That is a mouthful.
And you guys are going to get a nice mask, by the way. You guys are going to need to get really close to the microphone. They're freshly washed. I washed them last night, the windscreens. So, no, you guys are good. You guys are good on the camera now. Oh, yeah, perfect. The camera's right next to you. The camera's right next to you. There you go. All righty. We do a lot of pre-planning for this show, folks. We let everybody know exactly where they need to sit and talk. So, first of all, that's what do you think of the mask thing?
I go back and forth. I understand it to some degree. It's so annoying, though, to wear. I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it is annoying to wear. I get it, but the spikes are there, and if it's what they say we have to do, we have to do.
Right. All righty. So you guys met a couple of weeks ago now, right? It's almost toward the final part of the plan to move forward with that. That's like a huge project, Bay Oaks. That's one of the 3 big projects they're planning here on the beach, with Times Square and the Bayside thing that who knows where that is now, but
it is a concept plan. And you say that it's like about finished. It actually is not. We haven't received all the public input that we really need. This is something that the Bay Oaks Advisory Board has been working on for several years. And we now understand that it's because of the inadequacies of what we currently provide to our residents. It is important for us to come up to speed with regard to amenities for sports and recreation and culture. So what Bonita Springs offers, what Sanibel offers, what Estero offers is what we also want to offer. And to do that requires a major capital improvement project plan. So this is in the 30% design phase. And the idea now is to take what we as an advisory board have come together in terms of what it is we'd like to see there, and then bringing it to a landscape urban planner for a 30% concept plan, and then bringing it to the public and getting their input. So it's a very exciting opportunity. Karen and I have really enjoyed this process, and it'll still continue to be a process until such time we have enough information that it goes to council and actually can get approved. With public support, we hope will happen.
Now, I know it's been going on for a while, but it's a big project and it's a complicated project. And part of that complication comes into because of the land situation. Can you explain a little bit to people who may not know sort of the difficulties with the layout that you have to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, you can chime in anytime you want, Barbara, but the problem is, so you have three different entities. You have Fort Myers Beach, you have Lee County, and you have the school. And they're all in that plot. So you have to have everyone coming together and agreeing. You have to get buy-in and buy-out of some of the parcels or donations of some of the parcels. I mean, it's a 10-year phased project. So it's like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And we are just 30% into phase 1. I mean, that's how long this project, I think, is going to really take.
And I know when I was listening to the meeting, which was a long one you had recently, that Roger was saying that he's pretty confident that at least for the school board, at least the school property,
Yes.
which is the bigger property,
Yes.
is going to have a positive outcome in one way or another, so that will help.
And we're working very closely with the school board because, you know, those ball fields that are there, we're doing an outdoor amphitheater, which will also be an outdoor education area for the kids. So we're working very closely with them, but we also, you know, I love to go to Bay Oaks and work out during season. I take my yoga classes there and all that kind of thing. And there's just not enough space, you know, and you're trying to take a yoga class and they're doing pickleball out on the courts. You know, it needs to expand.
And
really
the building, now the current building is pretty old and in some disrepair. So is the plan to, or has that not yet been decided, to take that down and then replace it with how
has
many?
been decided that
Okay.
we voted to demolish that building.
Right.
Because, you know, even 30 some odd years ago when it was built with major concessions based on what the original architect had planned due to budgetary constraints. So the building was never operating as it really should have originally. And so it's never been adequate in terms of what it is that we hope to offer, like fitness classes and meeting rooms and, you know, having it as a more of a multi-purpose facility. It just does not have the ability to do that. So the idea is, rather than just having the one building, we're looking at actually having 3 buildings. And so one will be like a community center, one will be a welcome center, one will be actually a gym. We're going to keep the pool where it is and kind of retrofit the building there. But, you know, clay courts, indoor pickleball courts, indoor dedicated rooms for yoga and weightlifting and all of that, Pilates. These are the kinds of things that our community deserves. And we're talking here about residents. I know a lot of the conversation, because this is a resort island, that it revolves around businesses and resorts. But we recognize there are people who live here, and all of us who live here full time use Bay Oaks. I do as well. So it's an exciting venture.
What's the total dollar amount that's set aside to upgrade Bay
I
Oaks?
think I looked at 5.4 million to complete all of the project, and it would require a government loan or a mortgage. I think is
Set
how
aside is
Roger
not
puts it.
the right verbiage.
Yeah.
I don't think it's set aside for
Right.
anything. I think there's.
I did ask about the funding because I was confused when Roger said something about we need to borrow money, and he was talking about the rates, and I said they need to borrow money. They just raised the taxes for these three purposes. Well, the amount of tax the amount that was raised won't cover all the projects. It will
Right.
cover like $250,000 a year and put toward the project or whatever. So that's why he was talking about money needing to be borrowed for the
Right.
different projects that are going on.
Exactly. And we call this a legacy project simply because this will be for future generations to enjoy. So obviously, within a 5 to 10 year, I'm thinking, Karen, it would be faster than 10 years. I'm thinking
I'm
all
hoping
three-
it's faster than 10 years. That's what they said at the very outset of it, but I'm hoping it's faster.
I'm kind of hearing now that it might be all three phases would be done within 5 years.
Which would be
um,
fabulous.
Which I think would be absolutely a
Is there
win-win for
going to be
everyone.
some signage so people know where it is?
Well, and there's a great question.
Oh.
because
Oh no.
Bingo!
Oh, no. It was
Because
on my list. He beat me to
that
it.
property right on Acero Boulevard is dedicated to giving us a up close and personal presence on Acero Boulevard, and that will be the main entrance
By the
and that'll
library.
also by the library there, and that'll be a beautiful sort of a signature building where we're going to have floor to ceiling glass. We hope where.
Underground parking.
And then, well,
Wow.
I
You
think there's
voted-
going to be underground parking in the Welcome Center, but
Right,
there will be in
right.
the other two buildings.
Okay.
Are you guys debating it right here? Like you
No,
arguing over the-
no, because that's one of the things that you voted on the other day was
Right.
that there would.
and I
the
missed
three
that meeting.
I know.
Yes, that's right. She missed
Three-story
that meeting, so you're excused.
You're excused. It was a
Who's the,
three-story building,
Right.
but they nixed the
What?
underground parking in that.
in
Why do you
that one
keep Why do you
building.
keep kicking me? Am I
Because
asking
you're-
the wrong question?
No,
or
no.
Why do
You're
you keep
just
kicking
you're
me?
interrupting. So.
Doesn't
You're
say
asking
it.
all the right questions.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
right.
you. I
And you
usually
are too.
Thank
ask the
you,
good
thank you.
questions. She asks the dull questions.
Yeah, right.
So the other question I had for you, is there going to be a charge or will it be free? Continue to be
Well,
free.
right now, if you're a resident of Fort Myers Beach, you actually have a Bay Oaks membership. That doesn't cost you anything.
Mhm.
For the specific fitness classes, there's a charge depending on what the class
Okay.
is.
Right.
What we're hoping to do with a lot of the property that we have, that acreage that we have, is we have a fitness trail, and that will be free to the public.
Nice.
We will have
Fitness is always good.
right, and where those ball
Spoken like the
fields-
true patriot, right?
exactly. And where we have the two ball fields,
Yeah.
we're still continuing to offer that, but also have it as a multi-purpose space. So if we want to have a concert, and
Nice.
there'll be tickets, at a nominal
Right.
fee, whoever's going to be, organizing the concert, that will be,
Do you-
obviously. a
Do you
charge.
worry that being that it's free, there might be busloads and busloads and busloads of people coming over from Miami to use Bay Oaks?
It's free to the residents. He's being sarcastic.
Yeah,
It's free
there
to
you
the
go.
residents.
Oh.
Just to the residents.
And when
You don't worry
Miami
about-
opens again, we won't have that issue.
Okay. I was worried about body on top of body on top of body at Bay Oaks, and you don't want that during pickleball.
Well, exactly.
Gotcha.
But pickleball is very, very popular.
I know.
as
I
we
can't
all
understand.
know.
I've never seen a pickleball game in my life.
I
How many pickles?
Actually, I saw it on TV.
How many
just-
pickles do they go through? No idea.
It is so popular, though.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, how many teams did they talk about? There's like 60 plus teams.
Is it like an older person game? Like-
No,
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Yeah.
there's a world champion that lives here in
Oh,
Lee
stop. A
County.
pickleball player?
A pickleball player.
We need
We
to
got to
get him
get
on
them
the
on.
show.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
watched.
Wow.
I just saw that on TV the other day. It's like, wow.
Wow.
And he's like 30.
But it's,
Nice.
it's kind of a cross between racquetball and
And
tennis.
tennis, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Racquetball
Do-
and tennis.
Are they playing now? Like, I don't mean right this minute, but
well, actually, if it's outdoors, I think
Yeah.
there might be some programs, but anything inside is just simply not being offered right now.
Right. Do
they
Simply
have to
because of
play-
the pandemic? But when this new facility will be built, we'll have 3 indoor, air-conditioned indoor pickleball courts.
Three?
Oh,
3
luxury.
outdoor.
luxury pickleball. Now, if they're
Right.
playing pickleball outside, do they have to wear a mask? Fair question, right?
I don't think when you're doing sports and you're.
I didn't see that
I
in the
think
ordinance.
they can probably
Actually, the nice
stay
thing about
6 feet.
You have
pickleball
to
is
be
that
6
that's
feet
natural.
apart.
That's natural social distancing.
Yeah.
So that, yeah. You're
Well, I
fine.
think they should be like some kind of electrocution thing. If you get within 5 feet, that's part of the workout too. It'll sweat it right out of you.
Like you have to wear
Oh,
the
man.
collar zappers.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Good idea. I like that. Bring that up at the next committee.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah. No,
I'd like to. We
no.
should test it on Roger just
I'm-
to see how well it works. So, how's the gym coming along? I know you guys are getting new equipment, and right, you're getting a whole new.
Well,
You getting Cybex or what kind of
We
hammer
started
strength?
to get
Or,
new equipment, and
Yeah.
I don't know where that is right now because, well, so the weight room is still open, but
Yeah.
it's by appointment, and like in 45-minute intervals.
Yeah.
And
that's too long. They should cut it down to 30 so more people can go through.
Well, so 4 people, right? It's up to 4
Yeah.
people can go at a
Yeah.
time.
4
you gotta,
people.
45
gotta
minutes,
make a
15 minutes. of
reservation.
That's
cleaning,
small then,
and
huh?
it goes.
4 people.
No, it's just because of the
I know what
COVID
it. I know
thing.
what it is. I don't need you
Dummy.
to translate for me. I know it's 4.
Well, I don't. It's small. It's got to be.
4 people isn't very many.
No.
Anyway, that's not about us, dear.
So,
Yes,
speaking
go ahead.
of not about us,
Yeah.
I would love your listeners to know and the viewers.
We call them
to
viewers.
know
Okay, yeah. Mostly
They're
viewers. Mostly viewers.
Okay.
Very few listeners.
That
Couple.
if they want to weigh in on this project, for them to come, there's 2 meetings. One is July 7th, which is Tuesday at 9:00 in the morning. And that is actually when we're having
It's like a
our
kickoff
board cab
party or
meeting.
something,
No,
right? Oh,
this is the board cab meeting.
Mhm.
But at any advisory board
13th.
meeting, the public is invited to comment at 2 points during every meeting. So if you have any thoughts and maybe some great ideas that we haven't thought of, please come to the July 7th meeting. Another meeting, which is a public kickoff meeting, which is July 13th at 2:00 in the afternoon, will also give all of you an opportunity to express your views about how you feel about this project.
yeah. And listen, don't come and try and bog down the process. We have to move this thing along. All right. I mean,
Right.
don't, if you have a great idea, maybe hold on to it till the next project.
And
but,
they are moving. You guys got
Yeah.
a lot of stuff done at
Yeah.
the last meeting.
did.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you're.
Who's the
ready to
chair?
move
Who's the
forward.
chair? Her name is escaping me.
Betty Simpson.
Oh, she's the best. Betty's
Yeah.
the best. Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
vice chair.
Yes.
And Karen and I are the 2 newest members.
We're the newest. We're
Nice.
the newbies.
Good
as
new
in
ideas.
I'm January, and
The
you were
freshmen.
I was like maybe
last year.
not
Is there-
quite a year before you.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do about the sound system at town hall, like so you can hear everything instead of every third word? I
That
mean,
is actually a new system.
It's a new system.
I mean, that's what's so crazy. It's a brand new system, and it's not any better than the old
no,
system.
I think the word is sucky. That's what it is. I mean, we'd like to hear. We'd like to be able to hear everything that's going on, but when you only hear every third word of,
and
I
it's
heard
frustrating
5
because you actually can be in the room and
Yeah.
the same thing happens.
Mhm.
It's
Really?
very frustrating.
oh,
And both of these meetings are at town hall.
now did you mention the kickoff meeting or kickoff party? And I totally went over my head, and I
It's July 13th
All right.
at 2 in
Wow.
2 in the afternoon.
now
That's
the ball.
chambers.
Let's talk about the ball. Did you talk about the ball field specifically? Like, is that going to be for softball for the old men down there and the and
kids.
for the
It's for
kids?
everything.
We have,
It's
we
yeah,
have
Little
we have
League,
Little
it's
League, we have
everything.
the men's softball team, and we're going to have
The co-ed, there's
maybe
a
the
co-ed
taste
softball.
of Fort Myers Beach there.
Wow.
We might have the like really great rock concerts or band concerts of
Mhm.
some kind.
Years from
it'll
now,
be a
maybe.
multi-use facility.
What if
And
you
let me just on that note, because
always interrupt?
no.
Okay, go ahead.
But when you guys were talking about the ball fields and there was some discussion about how they were all going to fit,
Configure.
he had some unique sort of solutions to that situation. Is
and
that
we approved those changes,
Yeah.
by the way, at
Yeah.
that meeting last week. So yes. we're
So
very-
if
because
you-
they're going to face each other and share certain
Right.
parts of the field,
because
so
there's
that
still 2 of them. So there's a smaller one for like little league, and then the regulation size for
I
adults.
apologize for making you guys come today. It is so hot, and you guys are sweating like crazy. I just feel so
well,
bad.
we all are.
And then you got to wear those dumb masks in the 100-degree weather, right?
No.
How many people are going to have a heat stroke out on the beach today trying
Oh,
to
it's gonna
follow
be
this mask
interesting.
ordinance?
This is
So-
going to be my only outside activity.
Yeah.
The whole
So
weekend.
the Little League, they were talking specifically about like those are regulation Little League fields, right? I
Mhm.
mean, there's going to be some serious like the Little League World Series. They could hold it down here. Imagine the revenue we'd get from that. That would be nice.
I think that'd be awesome. If that happened, I think it'd be fantastic.
Quick quiz: where they hold it now?
Someplace
No
in
idea.
Fort Myers.
No, the Little League World Series.
Oh.
Where do
don't
you
know.
think they hold it, Miss Know-It-All?
Cooperstown.
I'm sure somebody will know where it is in Pennsylvania, but
Oh, really?
yeah. So if you had a choice of your first, let's say you wanted to kick off Bay Oaks with a killer rock band, who's your favorite rock band? Who would you pick?
Who's
Like if
my
you had to pick
favorite
of
rock-
everybody.
Like right now,
Yeah.
that's the rock bands right now.
Yeah. Well, no, your favorite of all time. Like if
Oh,
they're
of all
even dead or
time.
alive. Well, not dead. They can't come if they're dead.
Oh, I'd love to have Tina Turner.
Tina
Oh
Turner.
my God, that would
That's
be
not okay. Well,
fantastic.
well, that's not rock.
What?
She's not rock. She's
She
kind of
is kinda
popish.
rocky.
No.
It's rhythm and blues kind of thing. Well, let's pick a rock band.
Well-
Pick a rock band.
I wish Sly and the Family Stone.
All right, we're
Still
not going to pick a
warm.
rock band today, are we? We're just
No.
bypassing the rock
Okay,
band.
Metallica.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
You don't really listen to
All right.
Metallica, do you?
I do.
Oh, very nice.
I
Enter
do.
Sandman. Very
Sandman.
nice. That's a song.
That's one of my favorite
Nice.
songs. I mean,
That's like
really
18
so
minutes
mellow,
long or
right?
something. Yeah.
Very atypical of Metallica to do Sandman, but
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
when they have the full orchestra in the background.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's kind of like
Just
reminds
not
me
in
of
this heat.
it reminds me of the Zach Brown band with the full orchestra back there. They really
Yeah.
rock it out there. They
Or-
played a Metallica song at the
They
last time we
did.
went to see
Yeah.
them over in Miami. Was it Sandman? I don't remember.
Maybe we
know.
could get Zach Brown Band.
Yeah, that
Wouldn't that be
yeah.
awesome?
Oh my gosh, is your stage big enough for his orchestra?
Well,
how big
I
is the
don't know.
stage going to be?
We don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far into the details.
Gotcha.
Right now, what we have to do, Karen and I, for Tuesday's meeting, is
have
look
homework.
at these three. We have homework. These three buildings that we're planning to build. And we look at all the programs that we currently offer, plus which ones that we're going to be offering, and which building it goes in.
Yeah.
So it's
The
kind of
purpose for
right?
each.
And
Yeah.
each one of us individually do that at home, and we talk about it on Tuesday.
Very cool. So the meeting is Tuesday at what
Their
time?
regular meeting.
9
Regular-
a.m.
9 a.m. and people can come down or they can watch it on it's on
Right?
YouTube.
It's on,
Yep.
it's on 98.
Channel 98.
Sometimes
MTV.
And then the
Comcast.
kickoff meeting to get
You know, that
input
mask
is
makes you look like a
awful-
bird face. That thing
awful-
comes out like that. It makes it look like a bird.
is
a little bit of
also
a beak.
the 13th. And
Blue
what
beak.
time is that?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 p.m. 2 to
All right.
5, I believe.
What are you guys doing the rest of the day? You going to blow off some fireworks at your house? And
I'm going to go back in the air conditioning, for God's
no
sake.
kidding. It's hot
is
out
good.
today.
This is
Fans are
nuts.
Great.
I'm heading over to the beach, over to Shuckers.
Nice. There's a little shindig going on over there.
Little shindig
Lovely.
going on there.
Oh,
And
didn't
Yeah.
know that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Only
so-
the special people get invited.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, we want to thank you guys for coming on in
Thank
this
you.
heat and
Thank you for having us.
good luck and great job down there. The drawings look great and
It's going to be exciting.
I'm
It
sure
really
people are
is
going to love it.
exciting.
Going to be
Yeah.
a big party down there when it opens, I'm sure.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes,
you guys,
thank
thanks so much for
you.
coming on. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time. And that is Barbara and Karen, and they are the brains behind the new Bay Oaks building. They're going to make it fabulous for this lovely community here. And before we get to our next guest, I want to tell you about some of our sponsors. Of course, our good friends at the Fort Myers Tiki Tours. They are open for business, and they are doing social distancing cruises. And I talked to the guys this morning, and they want to make sure you knock the camera down. It's a camera. Now, can you turn it this way? So they're getting out turn a little bit. Now down a little, knock it down a little. I tried this new technology stuff and it doesn't work with her. It doesn't work with her. All right. They, what was I talking about? Okay. They have private boats for up to 4 people for $119.99, up to 6 people for $179.99. That's total per boat, not per person. You bring your own booze, you bring your own drinks and food, and really, we had a super time on Father's Day on the Fort Myers Tiki Tours. They really are nice people, and they make the time go by so fast because they're chitty chatty with you and they're telling you their life story. And maybe it's a little too much information. We got a little too much information from our captain, a little more than I really wanted to hear at the time, but it was still lots of fun. And as I was saying, they talked to the guys this morning, and they said happy 4th of July to everybody out there. And you can call them for reservations. You thought I was going to forget the phone number, didn't you? Because I was rambling. 239-887-0042. That's 239-887-0042, Fort Myers Tiki Tours. And one of our newest sponsors, CCG Certified Public Accountants. You need to do your taxes. You hate to do your taxes. Taxes suck. And especially when you know you have to give money to the government. Why not? We're always giving the government something, some of our money. They have over 100 years of tax preparation experience. We use them. We've used them for, 10 years now. 4 CPAs, 10 accounting professionals, 6 years in business. They can do tax prep remotely, everybody. 2 locations. We forgot to get pictures with those guys, which really stinks. So we can't let them leave. Buy them more Bloody Marys before they go. You can call CCG, Certified Public Accountants, 239-992-1973. Sit down, Chris. Come on. Waiting all damn day for you. 239-992. You're going to have to move over one more chair so you're on the big screen there. 239-992-1973. That is CCG, Certified Public Accountants. Please give them a call. Tell them Kim sent you, and get your taxes done remotely if you need them done. Now, when is the deadline for taxes? Did we discover that last week that we knew when that was?
They moved it to, it's through September now? Oh, my Lord. I thought it was through July. They must have.
That was the first one.
Hey, can
Right.
you grab the other microphone? Because then John Lalo can see his mic flag thing, and he won't complain that he doesn't get enough promotion.
Stop. He doesn't
did?
do that.
All right, nice and close, Chris. Chris O'Neill, everybody. And the reason we invited Chris on is because he is one of the greatest Americans we know. And why not have one of the greatest Americans you know on the show on the 4th of July? Chris, how are you?
That says a lot, but that's not necessary. I appreciate that, but just a regular guy. Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Chris
you.
Not
is,
only is he a great American, but he also has a great place of business
Right.
with super yummy food, which I know we'll talk about at some point. But
Absolutely.
tell us about Sir Pizza.
Sir Pizza. It's a franchise that started in Indiana in 1956. Lafayette, Indiana. It's called Pizza King. It morphed into in 1966 in this region. It turned into Sir Pizza. Same exact food. So if you're a Pizza King person from Indiana, the Midwest, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. We have people drive as far as Tampa every single day to eat our pizza because it's different. The ingredients are superior. It's made by hand every day by real humans, and it doesn't come in on a semi truck in the middle of the night from Zimbabwe. So it's real food with real people.
Yeah, you're behind there cooking food, taking
Absolutely.
pictures, putting it on the Facebook. What's the Facebook page?
Sir Pizza Fort Myers.
Yeah.
On the Facebook.
Now, we'll get back to the pizza in a minute, but now that we're on the Facebook page,
Oh.
are you totally banned from Facebook yet?
I'm back. I had to allegedly create another site, so I couldn't risk losing my business privileges on there. But I'm out of Facebook jail, and I'm able to post through another venue. And then, yeah.
Well, why did you
I'm
get
back.
put in Facebook jail? Tell
Well, the
everybody.
last time, it's been at least 12 times that I can recall over the years. I think I said something about how to deal with looters, force by force. And
Yeah.
they said I was enticing violence.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was looking at a picture of a police officer getting his throat cut, and that was allowed to be on there, which I thought was absolutely unacceptable and ridiculous.
By one of the looters?
No, it was just this
the
meme or
video.
whatever they call
Okay,
them,
gotcha.
and that was okay. That was
Oh,
1 million
man.
clicks, and that was okay. But I couldn't say that you deal with looters with force, and it's just I have a lot of people that watch that, and they delete a lot of my posts, and it's unfortunate.
So
It's not
when,
freedom of speech. I'll tell you that right now.
when you get put, well, no, nobody really thinks it is.
Right.
When you get put in Facebook jail, how long are you there for?
It depends on what you do and how many times you've done it. The next time, like every time I turn on my Facebook, I get a warning that says your next offense is 30 days. The last time it was 7 days. The time before that was 3 days.
Oh.
And then I think I've been over the years jailed over 20 times.
So tell us.
Facebook jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they call it Facebook jail, but we
They
do.
do.
Whatever.
Oh, they do?
Well, that's what I call it. And there's pictures that says Facebook jail. I just
And-
got released.
And so everybody that's watching knows you're, tell us what you're mostly like to talk about that get,
This time of year and this situation in our country is certainly politics and the mayhem that's going on, the chaos, the lawlessness is just. I'm a 20-year Army guy, and I think that law and order is why we go in the military to protect not only our freedom but freedom around the world. And in my opinion, that's been violated right now. I mean, a lot of us are carrying weapons now. And I'll give an example. This weekend, I did the gun show at Civic Center with my food truck, the Sir Pizza Express food truck. Over 10,000 people showed up. Day one on Saturday, there were 1,000 people in line from the front door of the Civic Center out to Bayshore Road, shoulder to shoulder.
Wow.
Waiting to get in. If that doesn't send a message, you think about it. We've disarmed the police. That seems to be a motivation now across the country, particularly in the liberal places. And who are you going to call when the bad guy walks in your door if you're not defending yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we ever have a discussion about taking away your Second Amendment rights again, it's veto. It's not going to happen. We're not going to talk about that anymore because of what just happened.
Yeah.
And our founding fathers had an idea. You know, they had a vision, and it's still that vision. We have to be able to protect ourselves not only from the bad guy, but from the government at times.
So when you said 20 years in the Army?
Yes, sir.
The Army. What wars did you fight in? Just so to refresh some new of our
Iraq, Bosnia, Somalia, went to Djibouti, Afghanistan, Haiti, Honduras. Some of the ones that people didn't know that there were things happening. So just all those wonderful third world places that everybody enjoys to go.
all the ones that
And
are
they got to be hot. That's
Yeah.
got to be.
Yeah, I remember the
hot
last
areas.
time. I remember the last time I was leaving. It was just before I retired from the Army. I was in Kuwait, sitting in a tent just before they had all these nice buildings, and it was 140 degrees in the tent because there's no air conditioning.
That is.
And I'll tell you a trick. You may not know this. If you're ever stranded and it's really hot, you got a bottle of water. Take a white sock, get it wet, put the bottle of water, and then hang it from a tree or something. And the evaporation process of that water will make that bottle of water colder, 10 to 15 degrees colder.
Where'd you learn that?
In the Army in
Nice.
Iraq. Because there wasn't any refrigerators, my friend. Bunch of old the Iraqi water that we would get, and who knows where it
I
came
bet
from.
you got a lot of survival tips and tricks.
I would say, yeah.
We might
So-
have a need for that.
All right, stop with the namby-pamby stuff. We're here to talk man stuff, dear. So when you go
There's a
now,
lot of women
All
that are
right,
in
you know
the
what I
armed
mean.
forces.
Absolutely. And they're fantastic.
And
by the
they
way. Some
are.
of my best soldiers were female soldiers.
I'm going to Facebook
I'll
jail for
be
that
very
comment.
honest.
So what do you think of the country you fought for now?
I think we're at the fork in the road, to be honest with you, my friend. You can either take the right turn or the left turn. And that's a critical over the next, 6 months or whatever. That's a critical decision our country has to make. And I'll tell you what, they're throwing everything at the process to destroy it, to put it lightly. And you see it every day. And I just wonder what's next. What's next? What are they going to pull out of the hat next time? Right? What other myth or spoof or whatever is going to happen, And I don't know. I'm blown away. I mean, I'm sure we're the same age. You could never in your lifetime have you seen such widespread chaos across
Right.
such a myriad of
I
subjects.
will definitely
I
agree
think
with
it's
that.
the total failure of government from the top to the bottom. It
Indeed.
doesn't matter
I
who's
agree.
in there. It's
I
a
agree.
total failure
If there's
of
anything
leadership.
that our president, who I love dearly, has done wrong, is he's let and that's by doctrine. He really doesn't have a choice legally. He'd like to, but let these states, for example, a place I used to live at in Seattle.
Right.
What was this CHOP nonsense? Are
Yeah.
you crazy? What country are we living in?
Right.
And then they came in the other day and wiped it out.
After 2 people got
Yeah,
killed
yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, 2 shootings.
Yeah, how does that happen?
That's the city of love. Remember the summer of love, the mayor said. It's a joke.
What did you think of the mask thing?
That's it.
Don't hold anything back, please.
I think, and I've said this many times on different shows, that I'm a data guy. Science is what drives whenever I say something publicly. What data do we have that proves that wearing a mask, particularly the mask that we see, anywhere from a t-shirt sleeve to
Yeah.
a bandana of all things, other than maybe some sun protection, what protection does that get? You can still cough through it because,
Right.
again, it's to protect me from coughing on you.
Right.
That's the theory,
Right.
right? I could put my hand in front of that t-shirt sleeve and feel the same amount of air.
Yeah.
You think the molecules are not going to penetrate that t-shirt sleeve?
Yeah, I watched a video last night that it really, unless you have that
M95
real
or whatever,
mask,
Yeah.
your shit's coming through the whatever you put
Yeah.
on. And then the ordinance that they just passed now was like the last thing in the sentence said anything that you can come up with in your house, like any kind of household contraption that you can
Yeah.
face cover with is fine with us, as long as you have something covering your face.
I was
which-
talking at breakfast this morning, and think about this. I pay attention to it every single day. When this first started, Fauci, CDC, daily briefing, initially it was, and here was my theory on it. New York City was the first hotbed. It made sense to me that the subway, hard surface, millions of people in those little tubes every day cause this mass contamination. Doesn't that make sense? 2 weeks later, and the story lasted for 2 days, the CDC came out with new science that said that the theory of hard surface contamination is about 10% of what we thought it was. Saying that, why are we wearing gloves? What are you protecting with gloves?
Yeah.
So, but then if you notice, that story went away 2 days later because it didn't follow the mantra of what they were trying to say, the plan. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Sure.
I like to go to the data. That's it. I don't want to hear some joker at the city commission's opinion because they don't know nothing more than we do. You know what I mean? I want to know what the data says. Problem is the data is conflicting.
Yeah.
At your place, are you all wearing masks?
Absolutely not.
Your
No.
customers come in with them if they do?
can, absolutely. There's
You
a
know-
sign on the door that says, if you feel like you're vulnerable, please, or we'll bring it out to your car.
All right.
So you're making accommodations for
Oh,
those.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We follow what our regulations are in Fort Myers Shores. You don't. This is a little different here, obviously, but we take every precaution we can to protect not only our employees but the people that come in to eat. And there's a lot of them, and that's important. We have a lot of older folks. They're certainly vulnerable, and then my employees. I mean, they come in contact with so many people, but we have the shield up and all that jazz. And if it makes people feel more comfortable, that makes me happy.
That's the way I feel about it.
You
I
know
will
what
wear
I
a
mean?
mask if it's going to make somebody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, down here I'm going to wear a mask because that's what the rule is, and I'm not trying to break the rules. I just, the masks at the beginning they said don't buy masks because the health workers needed them, and then nobody was pushing the masks like you needed to pass an ordinance like they did last week in May or June. All of a sudden, they're lifesavers. Everybody needs to have a mask. That's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. If they're lifesavers now, weren't they lifesavers in May?
I don't think logic is applied in many of these cases, and that's the hard problem I have to deal with this, because I watch your shows and I watch your Facebook, your updates with the commission, and I'm trying to get informed as well. I'll call John up and say, hey, what's the latest? Because you guys are in on this stuff down here. I don't really see that where I'm at, and I want to know what's going on. And because it's day to day what the policies are.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem. It changes day to day. The numbers go up, the numbers go down. There's disagreement about how they're counting them. Are they counting them correctly? Are they not? And you've got people on both sides of that debate too. And so it's constant, somewhat knee-jerk responses because something there feels like there needs to be something done, and it is. It's a mess. It's chaotic. It's confusing.
Why don't we look at the big picture? Okay, what's the first headline on the news? There's 10,000 new people in Florida.
Right.
Meanwhile, the hospitalization and the death rate is flatline. So if you have a giant peak up here and then nothing happening over here, why is that?
Well,
because it's younger people getting it,
right?
And they're more vulnerable. They're not as vulnerable, and they're going to survive.
The death rate is low, and the negative Nellies are going to say, "Well, just wait 2 weeks. There are going to be more deaths."
We've been hearing that for 3 months, brother.
And then, but the hospital numbers are going.
They
up.
are going up.
But there's also, I'm not on the conspiracy side either. But there's also people that say that, I mean, there's some people in the hospital. Do they really need to be there, or could they be?
I was
going to
go there because the money flow, as far as the COVID category, is different, and they can automatically. Now, here's another thing. There's several states that I've read about that you get test positive for COVID, you get tested 4 more times in your 14 days of quarantine. They add that to the total.
I know.
Is that right?
Well,
Are these people that are getting killed in a motorcycle accident? And
that's why I don't think you can trust anything. All you can do is do the best for yourself. Just if you feel vulnerable, stay home. If you're sick, stay home. If you don't want to be around people, stay home. And if you're out and you feel vulnerable, wear a bodysuit or some kind of hazmat suit or whatever you want to wear. Just I just see the slow crawl back to infringing on not taking away your rights, but if the economy closes down again, there's going to be a freaking riot in this country, and it's going to dwarf these other riots where they were okay. Those
I always
riots
go back
okay.
to that. Those are the job providers you're closing down,
right?
And if the guy is sitting up in his place in whatever political spot, you got to understand, if you close down these businesses, particularly again, they're most likely not going to come back. And then shouldn't they be able to be paid to accommodate this change? I mean, it makes sense to me. Obviously, the taxpayer will pay for it anyway.
Right.
But there's never been a government employee that shut down a business that didn't continue to get a check.
When you talk to your brothers, what do they say about the country
right now? They like their commander in chief because he's got their back. A lot of them are disappointed on how the police are being treated right now. I know I am. They're being vilified for ridiculous reasons. One bad apple in 10 it's not a widespread thing, and obviously it doesn't matter what you do. If you build widgets, there's 1 out of 10 that's a turd.
Yeah.
Right. That's nature. But I can tell you, I can't even count the countries I've been in the world. Racism exists everywhere. It's just it's just human nature. It's not right, but it exists. And I can tell you from a widespread perspective that our country's in really good shape as far as other places. I would invite some of these people that are talking to go somewhere else and taste it.
Yeah.
it'll be a totally different situation. They don't have rights.
Well, Kim Jong-un just said the other day that they're COVID free. So they must be doing a lot better than us because, that's
That
true.
guy's a trip. You got to give him credit. He's in the media and he's like 4'5".
Yeah.
Give me
And he was
credit.
dead about 2 months ago or
Yeah,
something.
they had him
Got
buried.
9 lives.
That's pretty interesting. But it's a tough time in our country's history right now. And
So-
It's a tough time because I think people, because of the confusion over the numbers and this and that, people feel that there isn't a strong leadership and that they're on their own, and
Yeah.
then they're fighting
You're
against
right.
each other. And
I think you coined it right there. There's so much uncertainty right
Thank
now,
you
and that's
so
the
much.
biggest thing. Because
No
a lot
touching
of us just
during
shake our
this
head every day and
time.
go, "What's going on today?" Because it's a different story.
I saw a chart that somebody sent me that showed the number of COVID deaths, and nobody wants to see this. And then it said the number of deaths in every other category, from cancer to everything
Yeah.
else. And
Yeah.
but you can't say that. It's not politically correct because everything's going on with that, and there's no
there'll be
vaccine
people
for
that
it.
say the same thing about the numbers for this. I mean, that's the problem. Is I think people don't feel they can trust any of it.
Right. Oh, there's
They
no
only
doubt
get
about
half
it.
the story.
Right.
Here's an example. The other day, that poor little boy, 8-year-old boy, died. He obviously had mental issues and some vulnerabilities. They didn't tell that part of the story. They just said, "Oh, we got an 8-year-old boy that died from COVID." That tells me, if I'm a parent, oh my God, that means my 8-year-old's vulnerable. Well, they didn't tell the whole story. The guy was already been in the hospital half his life, the little boy, and he was vulnerable, right? So he's the one that's going to be put on the poster.
Right.
And I think the point of this is they should tell the whole story.
Right.
We've had this many positives. Well, how many got cured?
Right.
How many have recovered? I want to hear that part.
Oh, yeah. So do I.
balance
How
out the
many?
story.
How many people have had it and with a positive, and now they're
Yeah.
fine? Or how long did
Yeah.
how long were they sick for, and how sick were they? When they
The
went through those.
intensity.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I know people don't want to hear this, but I think we have to live with it now. We have to. The more people that
Yeah.
get it that are
Yeah.
younger, the better.
Yeah.
As long as they're not dying.
They're going to
And-
recover from it, and
Right.
they're going to be much more susceptible to not be hurt from it in the future. So
I was reading something and you guys could check this out if it's any interest. On Boston.com, they interviewed, 5 doctors, including Dr. Fauci, about what they do every day. And the quality of life that these guys have is just, I don't know how you live like that. From every time the mail's delivered, they wash the mail off and they leave it on the counter for 24 hours. Or they're in the house and they have 2 friends over for dinner and they have to sit 6 feet apart. And now maybe they're bullshitting us, maybe they're just telling the story because they're being interviewed,
Yeah.
but they're
Sounds good.
sitting 6 feet apart and they order takeout because they don't want to touch food in the house where they're
Right.
serving people.
So
And-
what are you saying? You think they're
I
not
just think,
lying?
no,
or
I
that-
think they're probably telling the truth, but who wants to live like that?
I
Right.
think there are people who are willing to do that because that's what they believe. That's what they believe.
Right. There's no
based
doubt they
on what
believe it.
they're- What
No
they're
doubt.
hearing.
I just
And-
can't see.
But you have that. With
I don't think the
every
majority of people want to
issue.
live like that.
Well, I don't think
they
so
want to live
either.
their lives.
But I don't think they're telling you have to do that right now.
we also have the right to assemble, peacefully assemble.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech, right to peacefully assemble. That was taken away from us last time. We couldn't go out. Locked down
Right.
for what?
Right.
That's a violation.
Do you think that'll happen again? The lockdown? You think they'll try?
I
the
don't
government
see
will
how
try?
they could do that because 2 weeks ago they were promoting rioting with thousands and thousands of people peacefully protesting means burn down a Target.
And a Wendy's.
Is that the consequence of the spike now? Could that be factored in? All those young people
I
that were
wouldn't doubt
together?
it.
Doesn't it make sense?
I think that, and we had this conversation with Anita, the mayor, many, many times. At the beginning, when they were starting to roll back things, it made sense a little bit because you didn't know what you were dealing with. I mean, you could have, for all we knew, it could have killed everybody at
Right.
that point. We had no idea. Now I think you have an idea and you have people deal with it a little bit better. People are a little bit safer, but I don't think that the government, whether it's Fort Myers or the county or the state, should think they have all the answers and say, this is
Right.
the way you're going to do it, because you're not listening to us. And the long arm of the law is going to have to sit. The sheriff's deputies don't
Yeah.
want to write a ticket
That's
for
what-
freaking
No,
masks.
I-
They're not doing
I was
masks.
watching your city commission meeting the other day, and the town manager says the biggest problem with all this, and I agree with him, is enforcement. Who's
Right.
going to enforce it?
Is that Sanibel?
No, here.
It was
Okay,
here. It was,
okay.
I think you guys had it up.
Right,
I was
the base
watching it.
guys,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And he came right out and said, if we go and say to somebody, you don't have a mask, I need to write you a summons. I need your license. All you need to do is say no thanks.
they don't have the authority. to
Right,
do
you
that.
can't. Right, they're and to put them in that position is crappy for them too.
It's like
Why
John
do
on
that?
his face. I was reading his. He says, "I can't at peacetime out. I can't have I'm not the enforcer to make people wear a mask. I said we can encourage them. We'll certainly have our employees do it, but they don't have the authority to do. They can ask them to leave, of course, but you put people in a situation that's not in their jurisdiction, if you will. And that's not that doesn't make sense. You end up with problems.
I feel like we've never had two of the most horrible candidates running for president than we have right now. I mean, it's like holding your nose and trying to figure out which one is less worse compared to having two great candidates to choose from. And not, I know a lot of you out there, you Trumpers, are going to hate that statement, but I think even him dealing with the COVID thing has just been the ball's been dropped from the time where they were, even when he was having those nightly meetings, it was painful to watch because you could see Fauci in the corner making faces or whatever her name was, the nurse. And so, I mean, so what need, I mean, what happens?
I don't know where we're going in the future. Remember, we're at the Y in the road. We're at that fork. We go right or left. Which way do we go? I don't know. But the thought, apples and oranges, Biden. My theory is, and I've said this for a year, Biden, they just want to get Biden in there, and whoever's VP is 6 months later is going to get put in that seat. Question is, who could that be? That could be dangerous. Biden's dangerous enough for himself.
Yeah.
And we all know he wouldn't last 4 years.
Right. He definitely wouldn't last 8 years.
No way. So out of the two, I mean, you got to pick one.
Yeah.
Like you say, hold your nose.
But this might be the first time in my voting life that I ever not vote because that's how.
Well, there's people in the party you may want to support under,
that's true.
Please don't have that attitude.
That's true. I know.
Bigger picture.
I would never say that out loud to somebody. Like
you just said it.
Your biggest right is the ability to vote. Don't throw that away because it can be taken away from you.
All right, you convinced me. I'm not voting for Biden though. I could never do that.
No,
I know your dad's not going to like that.
You got to remember, it's one or the other. Which one stinks the less? That's politics, my friend.
So you turn that Sir Pizza around, man. You can't stop the money train in that place. They're backing up money like there's no tomorrow.
He's got more trains.
And you got a big truck, and you got the big food truck. I mean, what was it? How did you do that? I mean, what was so special about you? Damn it!
It's not me. I think it's a lot of the basic things that, like John practices here: quality and service. You can't pretend, and I got a big sign up over my cash register. The people that come in can't see it. My employees look at it all day. It says, "Be nice, it matters." And it does, because if you read our reviews, it's because they were nice. The food was wonderful. You can go to any restaurant and have great food, but if the service sucks, I'm not going back. Right. So those two are just as important. I go to some places over on my end of town. The food's horrible, but the service is okay.
Yeah.
So I go there, the people are nice. We support small business. That's what we do. And, but as far as our business,
it was a one-time bad meal, so
that happens. I'll give you an example. We have a pounded pork tenderloin sandwich. Is a Midwestern tradition that I make. It's my recipe, and people come from all over to eat it. And then there'll be 1 out of 10 that says I didn't like that because they like a pork chop style one, which is real thick, and it just depends on what you like and where you're from. You can't make them all happy, but if you make 99% of them happy, you're now third ranked in Google ratings for pizza in Fort Myers, where 18 months ago you were 395.
How's the food truck going?
Food truck's amazing. We due to the volume of business we created, or we didn't with the COVID, it turned into the takeout delivery stuff.
Nice.
We doubled business for 8 weeks. So with that said, as hard as it is to get employees right now, which is another story because they're sitting at home getting unemployment for $600 a month, at that category of worker, right? The $10 an hour restaurant person. Why would you want to leave your couch if you're getting $600 a month, and then you can go work under the table somewhere in addition to that, instead of going back into a place and sweating it out for $300 a week?
Right.
Doesn't make sense. You're enabling.
That kind of attitude is really.
Now we're going back to the last, party or the last president. So let's don't go backwards. Let's go forwards. But as far as the food truck, the first time we had it back out was the gun show this weekend. They called us last minute. Civic Center. They're our number one place we go. And there was 10,000 people there, and we were the only food vendors. So figure that out.
How often do you go out? How often do you go out shooting?
Lately, which is interesting. It's not as convenient as it was, because I'll give you an example. A week and a half ago, I went to Shoot Straight, and there was standing room only in the place. And I'm kind of naive to what was going on right now. I'm like, this is like a Wednesday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why? He said, well, background check then was 6 hours. All these people have bought guns. They're waiting on their background to come back. And then the shooting range, you had to stay there for 30 minutes in line to get in to shoot.
Wow.
Even better, this weekend, the wait now for a permit just to get a background is 13 hours. So you had 10,000 people in the Civic Center this weekend buying guns. They couldn't even take them home that day, even if they had it concealed. you had to wait 13 hours for your background to come back. So the FBI is so backed up with America arming themselves right now.
Right.
That's why it's got to go through the FBI background investigation.
Wow.
And it doesn't
Why?
matter if you got it concealed like I do or not. You still got to get the same background investigation.
Yeah.
Why?
So-
Every
why,
time.
Why
right?
do you
Every
think?
time.
Why do you think buying guns is so popular right now? What's
Because the average patriot's arming themselves. Because the uncertainty with the government, the taking away the police. Who
Right.
knows what chaos this election's going to cause?
right.
I guarantee you, COVID's healed the day after the election. I will promise you that.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
no longer be a headline. It'll be
Numbers will
something
come
else.
right down.
Oh, what happened? Especially if Biden gets it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, he cured him. You know, like Obama and the swine flu is fake news. This didn't happen. They didn't even acknowledge it for a year. Kept it suppressed because they were trying to pass Obamacare at the time. The two didn't make sense together. So media kept it down.
How often do you have conversations with your the guys you went to Iraq with or Afghanistan?
All the
with?
time. They're
Yeah.
lifelong friends. In fact, I've got one of my lieutenants from there is flying in next week. He's spending a week with me. He's now light colonel. He's coming to
Nice.
stay with me for a week. And
Is the government doing a better job taking care of veterans?
they sure are. That's the one thing you can't take away from Trump. He's turned the VA system around. It's not perfect, but it's a million times better than it was. They farm those people out that had a 6-month wait to see a doctor for whatever. They get seen right away within 30 days with a civilian doctor. If they can't take care of you, they send you out. That wasn't like that
Good.
ever in my lifetime. That's a big deal.
You're very
Mhm.
political on Facebook. Has it hurt business at all?
I estimated when I was a fisherman, I lost probably $100,000 to $200,000 over 15 years because of that. And Facebook didn't start till 2008. So that's
Just voicing
That's a-
your opinion.
Yeah, I was
Because
the
you always piss
leader.
off 50%.
I was
of
the guy
people.
that took the lead on the red tide issue when that happened 2 years ago. And I was on television every single day for 144 news shows, standing on the beach talking about what Florida did to hide this for the last 100 years of mismanagement. And it made a difference. One day I was on Fox News, the next day I was on the Weather Channel, and next thing you know, the whole world knew about red tide. It
Wow.
was no longer a secret. And I was real proud of that, you know, and it was at that time I knew I'd ran my course in that business and I had a chance to jump into pizza. And here I am sitting here with you guys.
Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and the shop
Where's-
there, and
yep,
where
where
are you
you're
going to be with the
located.
truck next? All of that.
Okay. The truck, because of the COVID uncertainty, public gatherings, I like to just do like events, concerts, things like that. We don't have anything scheduled right now, which is fine because it's hard enough to keep up with the store. But we're out and about. Our Facebook page is Sir Pizza Fort Myers, and anytime we're somewhere with the truck, that's where it's found.
By the way, he's not
Hey.
political on the pizza page. It's his personal
No,
page.
no, no,
So
no. I was
get
just
on the
telling-
personal page
I was just
too,
telling
if you want
someone
to see
it's
some real
not
stuff.
smart to have a
Right,
political
right.
voice in
Yeah.
your business because everybody's got an opinion. They have
Yeah.
the right to that, you know.
And
And
the
I believe in that.
location, though, of the restaurant is on Route 80.
We're on Palm Beach Boulevard, going east to 75, 3 miles, right next to Dairy Queen's standalone building.
Are you going to expand?
Yeah, hopefully, because I just brought on a new partner last week. He's up in Carolina. Our plan is to get to Cape Coral this summer, by
Okay.
the end of the summer.
How about on the beach? Any plan?
I was gonna get the place down next to Tina's.
Yeah.
That spot that's been vacant forever, and
Yeah.
I need to do a better market analysis of how it adheres during off season. I'm naive to this
Yeah.
locality right here,
Right.
and I was just telling a story on the way down here that this is a potential spot, but I just don't know. You always got to plan a business from a 12-month perspective,
Right.
not when the gravy's gravy.
Right.
So people make a mistake in fishing. Season's great, but what are you going to do the other 6 months? They don't plan it
Well-
like that. It's a 12-month year, not a 6.
Yeah.
So
And
it's the same with
sometimes
anything.
season isn't great. You know, there's the last
know.
couple years has been rough
Yeah.
for these guys.
I
so
was
it's
about
hard to
15
say
seconds
that.
away from opening a little tavern in
Yeah.
Fort Myers Shores not too long ago, and I'm so glad I didn't because of this. I'd have
Yeah.
been closed the whole time.
Yeah.
Bills keep coming. You know what I mean? And you got to pay the bills.
Well, you look great, man. Thanks
Thanks.
for
Yeah,
You guys
everything.
too.
Thank you so
Everything.
much for coming
What's your
down.
next race?
Keep
What
up
are you
the
doing
work.
next?
We're
We've
too
got
old for that
nothing.
now.
Whatever.
Come
I
on.
saw you up there in
Don't
that
worry.
mud.
No more
Rock star.
races. And we look forward to coming out there and seeing you again
Super,
out
man.
there. So
Yeah.
Can't
thanks
wait.
a lot, and we appreciate your service as
Thanks for having
always.
us out,
Yeah.
Kick ass,
Yeah.
man.
Kind words
Chris,
are always appreciated. Thank
Chris
you.
O'Neill, everybody. Big hand from the crowd, the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Sir
Thanks for having
Pizza
me.
is where you want to see and hang out with Chris. And check him out on Facebook or his website. And I'll take care of these ads, dear, and
Okay.
then we'll chat and
Thank you.
close it down. All right, everybody. One of our brand new sponsors that we want to make sure we mention is our good friends at Island Oils. They repel the bugs, not the birds. No seums, mosquitoes, flies, gnats. Soothes the itches if you're already bitten. 100% oil. 100% works. No water added. Oil and water don't mix unless you shake it like crazy. They're made in Florida for Floridians. And if you want to know more about Island Oils, last week, half the show was about the folks that own Island Oil. So you want to check that out. And you can go to islandoils.com. You can order it online. They don't have a place you can go to walk in and get it, which is probably good right now. But you want to check them out at islandoils.com. We ordered it online. It came a couple days later. We use it out in the backyard to keep all the bugs and the gnats and the nasties away. So we love that they're a brand new sponsor for us. And, of course, Shuckers at the Gulf Shore and the Cottage Bar. They are open every day at 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. to close, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a late-night menu. They also have a happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, featuring discounted liquor, domestic and imported bottle and draft beer, and classic food favorites. You can come by boat or car. You know, I've never had the pleasure of kind of like sliding into a restaurant in a boat. Never in my life.
No,
never.
me
Have you
neither.
done it?
No, only in the kayak.
Oh, you did in a kayak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I've never
before
done it.
you.
I did swim to shore once, and during a race when I quit. And
They were out swimming today, like they were doing
saw
a little
them out
race out
there.
there.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if it was
Oh.
a practice thing or what.
We're going to get a chance to check out the new cabana
I know, I'm
at
so
Shuckers. We're going to
excited
take some
about
pictures
that.
of the cabana so that everybody can see what it looks like. It looks very cool over there. And so I need to tell you a quick story about the bike ride this morning, my 50-mile bike ride. So I got up nice and early today and got it started at 2 o'clock. I got up so I could leave at 3:30. And everything was going swimmingly, and I got to the racetrack in Bonita Beach Road, the racetrack, my stopping spot to refill the water. Well, as soon as I get there, I found $6 on the floor. So I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be a great stop. $6. That would last you, what, 3 weeks, $6.
Exactly.
So I found $6, and I thought, wow, this is going to be great. And then I went to the door so I can go potty, and the door was locked. So they were closed.
Really?
Yeah, they closed because the lady that was working didn't have a coworker, and I guess thanks again, Chris. Take care.
Thank you.
And I guess that the she didn't want to be in there alone and have people walk in. It's crazy people out at the dog track. You know, we know some varmint that go out to the dog track all the time, so they were locked. So she said she would open at 5:30. Well, I got there at 5:22, so I waited till 5:30, and it still wasn't open. Now I'm wasting time. I need to get on the bike. So it starts to drizzle, and I'm like, wow, this is great. Little drizzle. It's 100 degrees, 100-degree humidity, and blah, blah, blah. So it starts to drizzle, and I say, all right, let me get out of here. So I go down to the Circle K, whatever it's called, at the traffic light. And now I really have to go to the bathroom. And so I get to this. I know you think my stories are too long, but you have to be a storyteller, dear. You have to lead up to the end. And I know you're bored by this, but maybe 2 or 3 people are not bored. So I get to the Circle K and I get some water and I get a Gatorade and my banana nut muffin that I like to eat on the ride. And I said, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom and then go. And the bathroom was out of order. So now, you know me, I need to go to the bathroom all the time. So that was bad news. And now it's pouring rain. So, and that's the end of the story. There's no good ending to it other than, you get away. I wanted to get away from there. I wanted to get away.
There are endless stories and they have no good content.
Right. There was I probably should have said I crashed the bike or something like that. But no, it was just, I had to go to the bathroom. So I got here and I went to the bathroom and it's a happy ending. $6.
Sorry, folks, that we wasted part of your 4th of July weekend with his bladder situation.
$6 and a happy, I shouldn't say that, should I? $6 and a happy ending? Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to say that. So you have any fun stories? How was your Sanibel trip?
It was great to go over to Sanibel.
Oh, by the way, before you tell your story, I want to let everybody know I talked to Kevin Ruane last night. His mom is doing better. His mom was in a bit of a car accident or some kind of accident, hit and run, I think is what it was. And she's 85 and she had a broken pelvis and a broken shoulder, but she survived. And she's getting better. So he sounded like he was in great spirits on his way back. And that's good news. And unfortunate thing for that to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't imagine that pain. I mean, I'd be crying like a baby.
Plus being in the hospital. This is not a good time to be in the hospital. Yeah. It's never a good time to go into a hospital. You can get sick from a lot of stuff just going to the hospital. So you just go if there's an emergency. And hers clearly met that criteria.
Right.
I hope they get whoever that did that.
I know. How could you do that and then leave? Crazy. That person should
Please stay off your phone. Stay vigilant.
Now I know
weekend,
Kevin's not that big a person, but he should be allowed to beat the crap out of whoever did that. Assuming it's not a lady. But anyway, so you're back to you.
So I went over to Sanibel to cover their meeting,
Oh,
and
is this going to? How long is this
very
story going
nice
to take?
people.
Come on.
I can make it very quick. Very nice people. They had a great meeting. They were very friendly. And then
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you.
Then I went and paid my parking. I do like you can do a little bit of a half hour. So I did an hour and a half and I swam. And people are really shocked when they see someone
Your age?
just anyone go into the water with the cap and the goggles on
Why?
and actually swim. I guess a lot of people don't swim. They go into the water. They
Hey, by the
cool
way,
off.
where's your uniform today? Why aren't you wearing your shirt?
Well, because it's 4th of July. I
No
wanted to
shirt,
wear
no
my-
hat, no
It's
promotion
so
here.
hot. I wanted to.
This is crazy.
Well, so there. My story was 30 seconds,
Yeah,
and yours
yeah.
was 7
You'll
minutes
be
with no
required
good
to
end.
report in full uniform next Saturday,
who?
by the way. So
Are you issuing me a fine?
I think that it's all part of the deal here. You dress in the uniform like I
I
dress
wear
in the
what I
uniform.
want to
Oh,
wear.
we're gonna have new hats next week. We ordered some new hats, and it's gonna be not only this color. They were out of pink, so we got aqua. Isn't that aqua? It looks like aqua.
No.
It's green, green and aqua. The hats will be available next week for $700 each. And by the way, please go to beachtalkradionews.com. Look, they're looking at us like, is this thing ever going to end?
I know, because we
They-
want to get their picture. Come on.
Okay. They're waiting for us. And sign up for our headlines in August. We're going to start something brand new, a new website and headlines. And it's
And
going to be
it's going to
super.
be sans your opinion.
No opinion, folks. The opinion is the Facebook thing. And I just want to say one thing and then we'll go.
Oh.
One thing about the Facebook page.
They're melting. Come on.
The Facebook page is for people to voice their opinion. Don't take it too seriously. Don't take it personally. All you guys and ladies that get hung up on thousands and thousands of messages like you need to be there to monitor what's going on, give it a rest. It's just a place for people to voice their opinion. Don't get all hung up on it. It's not that big a deal. So I was just kidding about the hats, Jill. They're not going to be that much, maybe $15. But I want to say thank you to Debbie for buying some Island Oils from our sponsor, our great sponsor there. And so that was all I wanted to say about the Facebook thing. It's so somebody sends me a private message.
Okay, dear.
All right, we'll tell that story next week. That'll give you a reason to tune in. We
Thank
need to
you
take some
so
pictures.
much.
Thank you,
Please
everybody.
have a safe and happy 4th
Oh,
of July
come on,
weekend.
end it already. Enough. You never
Mhm.
stop. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.